Good afternoon and welcome to the April 27th joint meeting of the Glendale City Council and the Glendale Housing Authority. Due to the evolving situation with the COVID-19 novel coronavirus and health recommendations from the LA County Health Department, the Glendale City Council and Glendale Housing Authority joint meeting will be available to the public electronically. Due to social distancing requirements, the public will not be able to attend the meeting. However, they are encouraged to watch and participate from the safety of their homes to practice social distancing. The meeting can be viewed on Charter Cable Channel 6 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99, and it's also streaming online at glendaleca.gov in the public meeting portal. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting these questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person during the Glendale City Council and Glendale Housing Authority joint meeting. Mr. Ajimian, may we have roll call, please, for council?
Councilmember Agajanian.
Present.
Brotman.
Here.
Kasakian.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Mayor Devine.
Here. And for housing?
May we have the roll call for housing?
Authority Member Ojinian. Authority Member Ojinian.
Here. Fresh? Roll call for housing.
Ojinian.
Oh, Ajinian.
Yes.
Sorry, I
Can you
heard
hear me?
Ajinian.
Robert?
Authority Member Ojinian, can you hear me?
I guess not.
There he is.
I do see you here. I'm going to mark you as present.
Here, I'm here.
There he is.
Authority Member Agajanian.
Present.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we do. Brotman.
Here.
Devine.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Parazian.
No, but they couldn't be called.
Here.
And Chair Kasakian.
Here.
Thank you. And what's next, please?
The agenda for the Tuesday, April 27, 2021 joint public meeting of the City Council and Housing Authority was posted on April 21st, 2021 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. And next?
Next would be minutes of the joint City Council and Housing Authority meeting of March 23rd, 2021 and April 6th, 2021.
I will entertain a motion.
I'll move the minutes.
Thank you.
I'll move
A
all
second?
three.
Okay, we have a second. Hearing no objections, the minutes will stand approved as submitted. Next item.
Next item would be Community Service and Parks regarding fiscal year 2021-2022 proposed annual action plan for Community Development Block Grant, Cdbg, Emergency Solution Grant, ESG and Home Investment Partnership Act, Home Programs, A, Council Resolution adopting an environmental negative declaration, B, City Council motion to approve a fiscal year 2021-2022 Cdbg, ESG and Home Annual Action Plan totaling $3,592,045, authorized submission of annual action plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development as recommended by the Cdbg Advisory Committee and the Glendale Homeless Continuum of Care Board, and authorize the city manager or designee to redirect excess, canceled, or unused program funds under $50,000 from one project to another with Cdbg Advisory Committee approval. And C would be Housing Authority motion to approve a fiscal year 2021-2022 Cdbg, ESG, and Home Annual Action Plan totaling $3,592,045 and authorize submission of the annual action plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development as recommended by the Cdbg Advisory Committee and the Glendale Homeless Continuum of Care Board.
Thank you. Mr. Galanian?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor Devine, members of City Council, Chair Kasakian, members of the Housing Authority. I'm going to invite Onik Bulanikian, our Director of Community Service and Parks, to present a report on our annual plan, next fiscal year's annual action plan for these three programs for your consideration and approval. Mr. Bulanikian.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Devine, members of the Council, Housing Authority Chair Kasakian, and members of the Housing Authority. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. So, each year, the City of Glendale receives formula entitlement funds from Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, to administer community development, housing, and homeless programs in the community. This year's This year, the plant's program priorities remain consistent with the 5-year consolidated plan that was approved by council in June of 2020, and these include social services, neighborhood improvements, improvements to community facilities, housing, and homelessness. On November 3rd, 2020, the City Council and the Housing Authority approved the CDBG funding allocation plan based on our entitlement funds for fiscal year 2020-2021. An RFP was issued late fall based on the estimated funding. In February of this year, the CDBG Advisory Committee met and interviewed nonprofit agencies on social service programs and made their recommendations. And on March 1st, we met with the community agencies, the advisory board did, and interviewed community agencies for capital improvement projects. Our entitlement funds, as part of the annual action plan, the city will be receiving a total of $3,474,000 for 3 programs, one being the CDBG program in the amount of $1,894,000, ESG, our Emergency Solutions Grant for Homeless Services for $170,000, and our Home Entitlement Program, $1,409,000. The CDBG funding plan, out of the $1,894,000 that's available, 20% goes to admin. Admin includes 2 employees working the program, administering the contracts, inspections, and working as project managers for our CIP community projects. We have 15% of the funds in the amount of $284,000 will be going to social services, and the rest in the amount of $1,231,000 will be going to CIP projects. There are 4 community projects that will be allocating $831,000, and 1 city project in the amount of $400,000. That'll work. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next slide. For the social service programs, there were 17 organizations that submitted applications, a proposal, and 14 out of the 17 were funded. We received $704,000 in requested funding, and as you see on the chart, we only have $284,000 that were allocated for the 14 agencies. Out of the 14, we have 2 new agencies. Next slide, please. The 2 new agencies that were funded are the Armenian Engineer and Scientists Organization for their STEM Academy, and GCC, the Food Pantry Program provided by Glendale Community College. Out of the programs funded, 54%, a little over 54% went to youth programs for employment, after-school programs, enrichment, youth and teen programming. 24% went to homeless services, and 21% for adult and senior counseling. And these 3 areas fit our program priorities for 21-22. Next slide, please. For capital improvement recommendations, $400,000 allocated to the Pacific Park Splash Pad project. We need to expand the restroom at Pacific Park with the new splash pad that will be installed, constructed within the next year or so. With LA County health requirements, we would need to update our restroom over there. This is the outdoor restrooms between the multi-purpose field and the playground water play feature area. And then we have received $2.3 million in requested funding for undesignated community projects. We have $813,000 that was allocated and available. There were 4 projects out of 7 that were submitted that are funded. Armenian Cultural Foundation, Glendale Youth Center CIP project, Homenum and Glendale Chapter Main Campus, the Campbell Center, which is first year that they had applied, the Campbell Center and YMCA for some upgrades to their facilities. One in the amount of $197,000 and YMCA $310,000. Next slide, please. As for homeless programs, the Emergency Solutions Grant, the COC, the Continuum of Care Board recommended the $170,000 be distributed between three nonprofit organizations that provide homeless services, one being Essentia for their emergency housing program, $61,000, YWCA of Glendale for their domestic violence and their rapid rehousing program in the amount of $70,000, and Catholic Charities Loaves and Fishes program, $26,000, and the rest of the funds would go for HMIS and administration costs shared with agencies. Next slide, please. So staff is recommending to adopt the environmental negative declaration and approve the proposed CDBG, ESG, and home action plan. I do have staff available on the call for CDBG and staff available through from the homeless programs. Ms. Sam Williams available and Ms. Kavarian for CDBG-related questions. I also do have our CDBG Advisory Committee Chair, Mr. Armenian, available, Mr. Garipian's available, and Mr. Avedisian's available. Any question? I know that was quick.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Okay, Councilmember Brotman?
Yeah, I just had a question about if somebody maybe from the CDBG Advisory Committee could just give a little description of what the STEM Academy, the Armenian Engineers and Scientists of America STEM Academy, what they do, because I'm familiar with the group, and I know our council member was president.
Yes.
No longer, right?
No.
Yeah.
Members.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the STEM Academy.
The STEM, any of the members would like to respond, or I'll be more than happy to.
I'll just say, maybe you can add on, Mr. Councilmember Brotman. So they are a new applicant this year for the first time. However, the program that they've been doing has been going on for a while. It is basically a robotics program for youth. And they run it out of the, I forgot that school that is off of the private academy that's there.
And is this something that's available to kind of Glendale residents generally, or is it just for that particular school where they're running it?
No, the school is merely a location that they're using. It's targeted for Glendale residents.
Okay, so kids or their parents can just apply and participate in this
Correct.
program? Okay,
Yep, any kid, any child in Glendale.
great. Okay.
Any other questions?
I have a question
Okay.
for the city attorney. When do we make our disclosures for being involved with any of these groups that are getting funding?
By
Is this the
Councilmember
proper
Najarian.
time to do so?
Correct. And obviously, if you're on any of the boards of any of those, then you're not allowed to participate, but pursuant to our disclosure ordinance, now would be the time, if you have an affiliation with any of the organizations that are receiving funding, to do so.
I do need to point out that the Family Promise of the Verdugos, I believe, has me on their advisory board. And I know they're receiving some money here, so they're getting 10,000. Let's see, what else? There's quite a few. You need to go through. Well, the Armenian Bar Association came up empty, so I think I'm just a general member of the Bar Association. Let's see. For me, that's it. That's the extent of my involvement with any organization that's that has applied and either received or has not received funding.
Thank you. Anyone else, Mr.
Yeah,
Julian?
my question is to city attorney. I'm a member of Armenian Engineers and Scientists of America. I have been, as has been mentioned there, I have been president of it, but I'm just a general member of it. Is that exclude me from voting on this list?
Councilman Agajani, no, just as Councilman Najarian did, your disclosure satisfies your obligations under our codes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I have a question, and I also have a disclosure because I'm also on the advisory board for Family Promise. My question is for CDBG, and the reason that People's Choice Market Food Pantry for the Salvation Army was not awarded any money, and they serve 1,500 participants. I'm just wondering why they were not given any allotment.
Oh,
Sanku?
Yeah, Ms. Mayor, members of City Council and Housing Authority. So we figured that would stick out. We have traditionally funded Salvation Army. We had a tremendous shortage of funds, and the Salvation Army was very kind enough to voluntarily offer that if we wanted to give an opportunity to other organizations, they would be willing to forego funding for this year. We did debate whether or not we could squeeze out some money, but at the end, it was just splitting it up too many times. So we took them up on their voluntary offer.
Wow, that's commendable, isn't it? I mean, I know how
Very
hard they
much.
work for food and for funding, and very, very nice of them. Okay.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you, and thank you to the CBG for all your work. I know it's time consuming, a lot of interviews to do and meetings, and thank you for always stepping up and doing a fine job of it's a tough job, because just like Salvation Army, we just don't have enough money to go around. We wish we had more, but we don't. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't. We had great applications. We wanted to give some others an opportunity this year. We try and do that every year with a little bit of money, but this year was, I would say, the toughest we've had since I've been on CDBG, just because of the lack of funding and the large number of proposals. But the good news is that the word is getting out, and we had a large number of proposals. Of course, the flip side of that is then you have to make some tough choices. But we have great organizations in the city that do amazing work, and it's what makes Glendale so special. So thank you, Ms. Mayor.
You're welcome.
I have a question
Mr. Rizal.
regarding the Campbell Center's ask. Is there any opportunities to help this organization that serves a very underserved and underrepresented population through other means, Mr. Bulanikian or Mr. Galanian?
As of now, it's CDBG funds, and we are receiving, I was going to mention this too, we are receiving through the Economic Recovery Act, $5 million in home funds, which might be used for rehab. We are waiting on regulations from HUD, and we will come back to council during the fall session. And council and housing authority, we will come back in fall when the regulations are out, excuse me, and submit an amendment to this plan. But we will be receiving $5 million, which I believe can be used for housing, homeless services, and also, I believe, rehab that nonprofits can apply for.
Because their requests were related to housing for disabled individuals who are either in transition or
Yes.
permanent, correct? Yeah.
But we
Good.
do recommend them to apply for the other two projects the following year for fiscal year 22-23.
That's good. That's wonderful news. They were also thinking about purchasing an additional home here in Glendale. Do you know anything about that? And would that be in compliance with this $5 million?
Once when the regulations come out, we'll know more. As of now, we just received the email stating we're entitled to $5 million.
Oh, great.
So their
Okay.
HUD's working on the regulations, and we'll coordinate with Mr. Lanzafim and his team.
Great. Sure, they'll be very happy. Councilmember
Just to follow
Brotman.
up to that, is this similar to the 5 million we received last year? Didn't we receive 5 million
We
from
received,
HUD for homeless?
no, we received homeless services, state funds we received, but the 5 million for homelessness. Yvette, did we, I don't think we've received any. The only HUD money we receive is the 2.7 for our continuum of care programs through HUD.
Okay.
But this 5 million is through the Economic Recovery Act.
Oh, awesome.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. If there aren't any other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion for council.
I'll make the motion. I want to commend the CDBG Advisory Committee for the number of hours that they put into this. It's probably one of the commissions, besides design review, that just, you know, the amount of time that you put in annually to vet all of the organizations and walk them through this, and all of them provide essential services, is truly admirable, and I thank you for it. So I'll make that I'll make the motion for
Okay, do I have a
adoption.
second?
Second, and ditto on the comments. Thanks to
Okay.
CDBG Advisory Committee.
Thank you, thank
Just
you.
for the right,
Before
there'd be
you go to
items.
roll call,
Yes.
I would also like to
Sure.
support the comments of my colleagues. It's really one of those tough, I mean, it's a very tough job. You've got very worthy organizations coming to you for funding, and we give them a very limited pool of money, and they've got to make the Solomon-like choices as to who gets, who doesn't get, are there other options, et cetera. So thank you to all the commission members.
I think that was unanimous then. Thank you all. Okay, we'll take roll call now,
And that is for items 2A and B.
to A and B.
Councilmember Agajanian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
and Mayor Devine.
Yes,
And I also want to give major props and kudos to staff as well. I'd be remiss to not say that they've done a remarkable job as well. And with that, I'd entertain a motion and a second for a Housing Authority.
I'll
Motion to
move
approve this.
the two items. It's,
It's one item,
one item.
2C.
2C. I'll move 2C.
Awesome. Okay.
May we have roll call?
Authority Member Ajinian,
Yes.
Agajanian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes,
Najarian,
Yes.
Parazian, and Chair Kasakian.
Yes.